Filborn and Associates in the mid-'80s did a fascinating experiment where they took two actual advertisements that they believed contained subliminal impacts that they had found on the line. One of them was a Marlboro ad, which showed guys on horseback driving through the range with big rocks around them. One of the rocks, allegedly, had been made to look like an erect phallus. And they hired an artist and they adulterated the picture and took the phallus out so they would have a control. And then they showed it to people and measured their galvanic skin responses and found out that the picture with the phallus had a greater effect than the picture without the phallus.
Indeed, more than happy to see Ariel. There. Right there, right there, right there. What is it?
It is clearly his knee. Everybody.
That's how we can sell sex to little girls. See, if we make the posters with little girls reaching for your junk, then you have to wear purity rings or else Disney can clean it.
I think that's the best way to do it than hitting them over the head with a product right in their face.
That's 30,000 repetitions of a single message. The single message is, buy this, do this, it's going to make you feel better, you're going to like it. If you're not doing it, you're probably not very hip. This is going to solve a problem for you. 30,000 times.
Is there any way you could call that something else? I mean, it's not a telescope, it's not a leaning tower of pizza, it's a penis. The problem is we hide this stuff from ourselves. We don't want to do it. And once you come to terms with this, it turns the whole world upside down. If the medieval artist could do it, why not chicken McNuggets?
Must X was embedded all over and even baked onto the Ritz cracker itself.
Yes, the X is all over. Makes them taste good. I love Ritz crackers. Johnny Walker Scott. They didn't put any scotch in the glass is empty. Now, if you look at the ice cube that's on the table, the right side of that ice cube is the image of the face, the grotesque, almost surrealistic mask. Isn't that an interesting figure to put in that? And it's a monster with circling arms and a skull-like face. It's the best simple. There are a dozen of them in these 6 ice cubes.
Author.
The predominant trend in modern subliminal advertising seems to be sexual assault, sexual violence. And this is an example of that. If you look at her facial expression, it could be that she's playing an extremely unpleasant. And the person on the left seems to be violently ripping her necklace from her throat.
Well, it reinforces the idea that women are victims, and that it's sexy for a woman to be a victim. And that's very powerful and very important to maintain status quo in our culture. And that's how you can convince men also that she deserves to be violated. She wants to be hurt. She's, look at her.
And this first appeared on the back cover of Time magazine and also in We magazine. On a conscious level, the ad is promising sexual excitement, but at an unconscious level, it's stimulating sexual anxiety. And the reason is that the lady's backbone has been carefully airbrushed to resemble an erect male phallus. Anxiety is associated.
It's just that we don't recognize them for what they are. So the most notorious example of this would be the Newport cigarette ads, which simply show happy couples frolicking in the green. But you realize, after you look closely, that these are really sort of sadomasochistic dramas, that either the man or the woman is in fatal control of the situation. So that would strike me as a good example of a subliminal pitch. It's all right there on the surface. You just don't know that the surface is, in fact, exactly what it is.
For me, the bottom line, as I was saying before, you don't mess with the unconscious, because you don't know. You don't know what the effects might be.
Advertisers just can't admit it. I mean, of course they can't admit it. They're not going to say they embed, phalluses and cigarette ads.
I used to work in advertising for many years as a research director, and all I ever got in response to my questions were obscenities.
Contrary to what many people think, subliminal advertising is not really illegal.
Not illegal? Did anyone have authority over regulating such methods? I started by contacting the FCC, who referred me to a 1974 report in which the Commission stated that the use of subliminal techniques are inconsistent with the obligations of a licensee, and that such broadcasts clearly are intended to be deceptive. However, policy statements like this are not the same as enforceable rules. Furthermore, the FCC has no authority over advertisers, just the broadcasters that carry their messages. Due to the large whirlwind created by Key's series of bestsellers on the subject in the 70s, and rapid advances in both technology and psychology, a congressional hearing took place in 1984 to look into the issue.
Advertisers just can't admit it. I mean, of course they can't admit it. They're not going to say they embed, phalluses and cigarette ads.
I used to work in advertising for many years as a research director, and all I ever got in response to my questions were obscenities.
Contrary to what many people think, subliminal advertising is not really illegal.
Not illegal? Did anyone have authority over regulating such methods? I started by contacting the FCC, who referred me to a 1974 report in which the Commission stated that the use of subliminal techniques are inconsistent with the obligations of a licensee, and that such broadcasts clearly are intended to be deceptive. However, policy statements like this are not the same as enforceable rules. Furthermore, the FCC has no authority over advertisers, just the broadcasters that carry their messages. Due to the large whirlwind created by Key's series of bestsellers on the subject in the 70s, and rapid advances in both technology and psychology, a congressional hearing took place in 1994 to look into the issue. For over 30 years, Dr. Eldon Taylor has researched and written about the effects of subliminal stimuli on the subconscious mind, most recently in his book, Mind Programming.
What happened in 1984 is really the culmination of a long story. Orwell's book, 1984, some have said predisposed Congress to investigate Orwellian techniques. And of course, subliminal is often thought of as an Orwellian technique.
There had been complaints, and Congress investigates complaints from their constituents. The House Subcommittee on Science and Technology wants to find out if the technology is being abused. Kansas Democrat Dan Glickman is chairman.
I myself think that subliminal communication clearly has a Twilight Zone implication to it. I think it's incumbent upon us in Congress to at least explore the issue to see how widespread it is.
The veritable who's who of the advertising world appeared, and they argued subliminal does not work. We don't use it, and we don't use it because it doesn't work.
University of Michigan's Dr. Howard Chevron called for a moratorium on the technique until further study is completed.
Although this may sound like science fiction, we may be on the threshold of invading the individual's perhaps last stronghold of personal privacy, his own inner thoughts.
My estimation is that they certainly got sufficient evidence that something along those lines was happening. The conclusion in their report was that it was unlikely to be having the effects that were claimed.
The law in Congress did not pass. The laws didn't pass anywhere in any state because of what I believe was a deliberate disinformation campaign designed to make the public feel comfortable. We don't use it, and if we did, it wouldn't work. In front of you is a manual. This manual was sent to me and is a training manual of one of the largest advertising agencies on the planet. And this training manual, in a very sophisticated way, lays out several ad campaigns that have actually run. Major products, how they embedded both taboo imagery, devils and whatnot, and sexual imagery. So, not used, I know that is just flagrantly false.
There was a memo, which I have a copy of at home, from the National Association of Advertising Agencies that went out to every advertising agency in the country advising them what to do if I come to town. They said, keep the hell away from this guy.
A crazy person writes a book about a fraudulent joke experiment and ends up creating such a stir that an organization is created, the American Association of Advertising Agencies, to dispel the myth.
We're talking about people from cradle to grave being exposed to subliminal messages that must be that some people, some borderline personalities are pushed over the edge and led to commit horrible crimes because of the influence of advertising.
There is loose in their test people like me today, whose dangerous impulses are being fueled day in and day out by violence in the media in its various forms, particularly sexualized violence.
Haji and our subconscious with these tactics? In what way might our own government be programming us?
In the 2000 presidential campaign, George Bush ran an attack ad against his opponent, Al Gore.
The Bush prescription plan seniors choose.
And at the end of the ad, it said, bureaucrats decide. And for a brief second, for about a 30th of a second, the letters R-A-T-S got very large.
When this came out, it was a very big deal for at least 1.5 news cycles.
Some people in the advertising industry say they believe the inclusion of the word rats was intentional, even if it was not designed to send a subliminal or subconscious message.
Now, that is not an accident.
Will Robinson is a Democratic media consultant not associated with the Gore campaign. He finds it implausible that no one noticed the word rats when the ad was in production.
Someone made a decision to put that word up on screen and make it part of the spot. And they worked hard to make sure it was that way.
The Bush campaign, of course, has denied this. They say that it was an accident.
Just ask